Certainly. So I thought I would
Are you there?
record this because it may be useful to have a recording, because I think what you're
Sure.
proposing is pretty exciting. So anyway,
Yeah,
we
and
we
I've been wanting to ask you for a while, but I just you know, I wish I'd done it sooner, but yeah.
well, two things have come together. I like to morph and change the course every term and add appropriate things to it. But I'm sure your enthusiasm was increased by the large number of students that we currently have. That is sort of unprecedented in the past. So anyway, it's a sort of win-win for both of us from that point of view. Yeah.
Yeah,
So tell me what you have in mind and want to do. Yeah.
sure. Yeah. So I have some visuals as well as some videos that I can take you through. But let me explain first what we do with Luxonic. I think you've seen some of the shots of stuff we've done in extreme environments during the lectures. And so we do immersive medicine, immersive technologies for medical education. So the technologies that we leverage, and very, very related to the technology and the future of medicine theme, we leverage 360 video, artificial reality, and virtual reality. So there's for sure at least two avenues that I want to get your thoughts on for integration within the course, as well as to see if you have an interest with the nephropathology side. So with 360 video, what we find is that with any type of immersive technology, we find that putting the learner in an immersive space increases their emotional connection to the subject matter, increases speed of learning, and increases retention at a delayed date. So there's advantages to using it. And then of course, in the era of COVID, everything, we've lost access to traditional learning spaces, physical spaces. Like we can't do OSCE teaching anymore. We can't do practical physical exams anymore, or at least for a while we've had to limit it. We have to limit the way we do it. So with the 360 video, and I can show you, let me screen share here and sort of show you some of the stuff that we're working on. We're bringing some of that immersion back. Let me just, where's the screen share here? So let's try sharing this one. So here's an example of what 360 video looks like. It's kind of hard to explain on a 2D screen, but here's a pilot we did with SAS Poly and their nursing school, and basically it's a 360 video shot from the circulating nurse's point of view. And basically it goes through a lap chole from the point of view of a circulating nurse. So they have an idea of not just what they're supposed to do, but what their viewpoint will look like. So that's the 360 video. We also have virtual reality med ed modules. So think about learning a high-risk procedure and practicing it before you ever lay hands on the patient. And so we've also had partnerships with the Canadian Space Agency for sepsis, with the Saskatchewan College of Paramedics for intubation and airway management. And then our next milestone is integrating artificial reality for just-in-time guidance. So those are the high-level views of the products that we offer. So then the things that I wanted to do was pick your brain about how we can integrate this into the course. So for 360 video, so this is our Medcast platform. So it's like if YouTube and Secure 360 Video had a baby, that would be this platform. And any creator, any institution can have their own channel and create videos for educational purposes. And then you can also create a revenue stream by licensing that out to your learners. And so for this class, there's a lot of ways we can do it. We can get students to film 360 projects. If you were interested in creating your own 360 videos and then creating a channel to put your content on, I think that would be an initial way to do this. maybe I could start by, introducing learners to one of our Medcast 360 channels and just experiencing it. One of the hurdles is, so let me show you what I mean. Let me show you what the 360 video actually looks like. It's kind of cool. Or the filming gear looks like. And so this is the Samsung gear. So it says bidirectional lens. And so then when you when you film in 360 and then when you review either on your phone or a headset afterwards, you can actually look up and down and in 360 and you feel like you're in the environment. So in the era of COVID, there's an opportunity and there's a challenge, because there's the opportunity to bring back the environments that we've lost. But also the challenge is, how do we get learners to experience the 360? I think the initial start would be just on their phones. I don't know if you would want to invest in headsets for the class, if there's a budget for that. But once we're back in person, I can also make it a point to bring both my VR headset as well as my gear to the classes I teach for the students to play around with.
Let me just interrupt here and give you an idea of what resources are available. You're probably vaguely aware that last term, in fall 2020, the students, we had this concept of multiple instances of self, and that it would be cool if the students made cardboard cutouts of themselves. They're actually coroplast. And we did that. So I think it's sort of, historic. No class has ever done that. We now have a whole set. Like in my office, there are usually like 2 people here, but there's 17 personages when you count all these cutouts. Now, each of them costs somewhere between $290 and $300. And it was a useful way to spend money because it provides the students with an absolutely unique feeling and experience. And if they wanted, they got one set of cutouts to take home or to give to their parents, and another one here. There are different permission forms. If their cutout is going to be in public space within the hospital or the university, they have to sign a form saying that they're willing to do that. So we already have a precedent for spending, say, between $300 and $600 per student. How much more than that would the VR headsets be?
Sure. So let's the VR headsets range. Mine was $590, I think. And
Right.
so, and I wouldn't imagine that you would need to buy one per student. You could buy, assuming we have in-person meetings again, if you wanted to buy ones for the class that could be sanitized in between uses and used from semester to semester, then you could buy, I would argue for buying a handful and then just reusing them.
Sure.
That would just be an upfront cost. If you want to make sure you always have access to the most up-to-date headset, Luxonic has an enterprise leasing program, and then in which case you could just lease it from us and then also make sure you always have the most up-to-date headset. That's another option. So there's options from the VR side. And I think my screen is just shared. So before I talk about the Medcast stuff, I do want to show you what we could do with VR. So let me just play this. Let me show you one option from the screenshot from the labs side. So, or maybe I'll just show you the video and talk you through it. And this is what the students would see and experience. Let me just turn up the volume here. And so they could don the headset, and then in a lab setting, this is for the medical laboratory techs. They can learn how to pipette. They can put a sample of a urinalysis on a slide. They can actually even look at it under the microscope. So this is getting a little bit ahead of our discussion, but if ever you wanted to build something like this for pathology, we could actually do that. This is the airway learning module that we're doing with the Saskatchewan College of Paramedics. We're now building an intubation module with them. So this is what they would see on the VR side. And we keep coming out with more modules. And then on the Medcast 360 side, since we're talking about costs, this is our radiology reading room and a headset. But coming back to the 360 video, since like we want to be encouraging to creators, and we also want to respect relationships that we've already had. So what we're proposing would be a 6-month free trial. So probably makes sense to. It depends on how keen you are. If you want to do 1 or 2 months now and then do it next semester, or if you want to start 6 months next semester, we're flexible. If you want to start creating content and uploading content now, that's fine. The storage fees are minimal to start. It's $10 for basic storage per month. But then there's also revenue streams, and because we want early adopters, it would be 90% to you, 10% to us to cover costs. So basically this is a long-winded way of saying, based on the precedent of a $290 to $300 expenditure per student, I think this very much easily falls within that.
Sure. No, well, I wanted to point out that because your next teaching session is quite a long time from now, I mean, toward the end of the course, I very much favor getting something going between now and then. So we have some, bells and whistles to show in this term, which will give a taste of a larger set of things, a broader based menu of things that we would be able to show in fall of 2021 and beyond. So that's kind of how I look at it, and it's sort of up to you what you want to aim for to have ready for this March kind of thing. What we could do within a month. Yeah. You're muted.
Sorry. Here's a very, very easy, cheap suggestion. So the cheapest, easiest way to get an experience in 360 is buy a $1 cardboard headset and then slide your phone in it. Obviously, it's not the same resolution. It doesn't respect the interpupillary distance, but it would give the students a taste.
So we've done that. I'll send you the video of the student who used the cardboard setup. We didn't do it last term. It was the last time we were doing things face to face, I think. So it was either fall 2019 or spring 2020 that we used the cardboard setup. And so we also have a virtual and mixed reality video from 10 years ago.
Nice.
And I'd be interested on your critique of that. I'll send it to you. We did another video on existential risk at the same time. And that video, we were very lucky. It's our most popular video ever. It has 1,400 views and, as I recall, 11 thumbs up and 1 thumbs down. So it's a pretty successful video. And it's in fact more successful than any video I've done personally. Now, you may know that in the course, we have videos with viewership up to 7,000, but those aren't videos that I'm personally in. So in terms of videos that I'm in, that existential risk video is the most successful one. And we were lucky. There's nothing discussed in there from February 2011 that has been superseded by later stuff and is old. Nothing seems old. We were just lucky. Now, I think with the virtual and mixed reality, you won't find that. You'll be able to point out, oh, Kim, you know, this is an old idea. Nobody thinks about that anymore. But our main tech expert there was Adrian David Chiok in Singapore, and I visited him several times and met his whole crew and so on. So we have considerable history going back a full 10 years of interest in this area, and would make sense to me that 10-year-old video is not a useful educational tool now, whereas the other one we did is still in active use. It's amazing to put together a sort of educational video that would be used for over 10 years, but that is the case with the existential risks video. So no, I'm very keen to do this, and it's a very logical extension. Now, Adrian David Chiok, he and I got very close to signing a contract and his coming here as a visiting professor, but it didn't actually happen. So there's also no conflict. In other words, doing stuff with you does not run afoul of any other existing, relationship that I have with. I'm completely pure. So I don't have any signed contracts in this area. Yeah.
Perfect. So this sounds awesome. I'm really glad it's within this semester's time frame.
Sure.
I'm glad it's very much within budget. And then the other thing is, if this ever ends up being somehow beyond budget, I think we can look at collaborative ways like Alberta Innovates grants to get more funding
Sure.
and draw more.
No, I think fundraising in this area would be fairly easy. The other funny thing about my life, this is like, it's so crazy when I tell you, I've recently taken a medical leadership course. There's a very competitive Canada-wide program, and I was one of the people chosen at McMaster. And my coach is a fundraising megastar. He took a university in Texas, and everybody's thinking about people freezing in Texas today, and brought them from like 400th ranked in terms of fundraising to like in the top 30s of all educational institutions in the US. So he has much that he can teach me, but particularly in the fundraising area. And it's an ongoing relationship. The course that I took is over, but he found interaction with me sufficiently rewarding from his point of view that we are going to keep on working together, but particularly in the fundraising area. So yeah, if we get into a financial level where we need resources from the outside, I think that is also certainly feasible. Yeah.
Fantastic. So in terms of for the 23rd, what the sense I'm getting is technology demonstration, and ideally if we as a course could be set up as our own channel on Medcast. And then maybe, this might be getting ambitious, but maybe, I'm not sure what the restrictions are with U of A right now, but if we could rent a room and I could set up the 360 video and then just leave the room, and then a student could start filming, and then they could leave the room, so then we'd be socially distanced I don't know what the rules are right now.
Yeah, I don't know. We have to do something that follows the rules.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I mean, I feel the same as you. I'm eager to do stuff. I'm also eager to stay within the rules.
Yes. So the other option is maybe you and I could get some 360 filmed on the channel, and we could just order as a quick and easy. We can order the cardboard headsets for the class,
Right.
and then they can experience that that March 23rd lecture in 360.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah, I think let's just work up something that is practical and safe and sort of moves us
Yeah.
toward the final goal, which would be something much more full featured. But I think
Yeah.
that the reality of Shawna Pandya in the world is once COVID's over, you're practically inaccessible. You're right. So this is kind of a unique time where you're stuck in the same city that we in the course are in, and so on, right? So it's kind of exciting to think if the pandemic hadn't happened, you wouldn't be playing this large role in the course because you'd be all over the world doing stuff, right? So
Yeah.
yeah,
But now
so
I get to beam in, and now we have the biggest class size ever, which is amazing.
yeah, I know it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So why don't we start with 360 for now? Because I think that's doable
sure,
over the next 5 weeks. But then I think for next semester, let's make plans. Let's hope we're back in person.
right,
Let's make plans for VR. And then maybe if we think we can still protect the value of the headsets, maybe it's worth purchasing a couple and then lending them out to students and then just
sure,
carefully wiping them down after.
yeah, 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 and I'm eager to share this video also to give people an idea of what we're working on, and also like the MLS program, the Medical Laboratory Sciences program. Certainly, there are lots of practical ways in which this tech could be useful
Yeah.
there for training.
That's
So
absolutely, yeah, that's who we've contracted with in Saskatchewan. So if you find any Alberta, if you have any Alberta entities that you think would benefit, please feel free to put
sure,
us in touch.
yeah,
Yeah.
no, MLS it is a very highly thought of program, and this seems ideal for them. So I will talk to the leadership there too and see.
Fantastic.
And I don't want to
Yeah.
be too pushy about the idea that everything they do with you has to go through the course. That isn't how I feel. I mean, they have their own separate courses training people and how to do all these practical things. And so maybe what you end up doing with them in the long run won't be related to my course. And I think that would also be fine. But I think it's a marvelous resource that we have here. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
spread the word.
Whatever makes sense to integrate into the course and elevate that discourse, I think we should. And then whatever we'll take away, we'll keep out. And then, here's an idea. If you the existential threats. I don't know if this is a good idea or not because I don't want to take away from the viewership count. But if you wanted to do a 360 2021 filming of it, that might be a cool idea as well.
Yeah, yeah, no. Well, you'll see. We've been celebrating this 10-year milestone, so we already have 2021 videos and talking about, well, how is existential risk different in 2021 compared to 2011? In 2011, it was all theoretical. Nobody felt very interested because there weren't any big threats, and now there are. So it's sad, but there are. And so the whole subject matter becomes more relevant and mainstream than it was 10 years ago. So even though that video was sort of ahead of its time in 2011, it really didn't gain viewership right away. It was later on that it became a more popular video. So yeah, no, I'm keen to do new existential risk videos. We have a videography space. You may know that we purchased a second home just at the edge of the university on the 117th Street, and we're using the 4-car garage there. We don't actually have 4 cars, so we don't need it as a place for cars. So we're shooting video in that 4-car garage. So that would be one option. So it's a place close to the university. It's not actually university space.
That makes sense. And, you know, I was thinking, like, even if we wanted to host a discussion between, you know, two faculty members, or, you know, a conversation between yourself and myself, we could film that in 360 at a safe social distance, wearing masks as applicable as well.
Sure.
And I think it would still be doable to do that filming. And I, as an added layer of protection, I will now have my Moderna second dose vaccine.
Excellent. Good.
Yeah. So cool. I will keep on thinking. I will develop this into something more concrete. But I think the initial discussion of having something ready to go for March 23rd, maybe doing the cardboard headsets, and going from there, and then including a plan for next semester, and then getting any paperwork in line as well along with that. So, yeah.
The one other thing to tell you, because it may occur to you in the middle of the night, that maybe we're going to get cardboard cutouts of all the current students, which would be a whole lot of cutouts. There's been no specific interest by any of the current students in getting these cardboard cutouts. So at the moment, it looks like it's sort of a unique feature of the last term of the course. And so it was just kind of a one-off thing that we did. And now we could spend the same resources on your stuff. I think that would make more sense rather than doing more and more coroplast cutouts of students over time.
You have the wheels turning in my head, because we just want to get these students excited and passionate about technology, and then explain it to others. So, you know, it could be, this is super far-fetched, my mind just went there, but, you know, giving them a teeny budget to buy a technology, play around with it, and explain it in 360, like a Raspberry Pi.
Right.
You know, yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, there are all sorts of possible things. And the nice thing about the cardboard cutouts is that there were no tensions there. We ended up with forms for them to sign about how we could use cutouts of them, and you know, and in some instances we just did cutouts for the students that they got to keep. And there was sometimes amongst the parents a lot of interest, because the students are no longer at home and they never see them. These life-size cutouts was like really useful, you know. So now, rather than just in a boring way redoing that over and over, to kind of, you know, expand those basic feelings of wanting to have the students in the course have a really, you know, unique technology experience. Let's think of all the cool ways in which that could happen in the future.
This is awesome. Yeah, I'm really excited. I'm going to brainstorm with my team as well, and any other ideas that come up for making this more immersive, I'll run by you as well. But I'm so excited about this.
Great. Okay, well, it's been great talking to you, and I look forward to the further expansion of these ideas. And yeah, so have a wonderful day.
You as well, Kim. Thanks for making the time.
Right. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.